You're listening to the In the Mix podcast with Marvin Joles. Here's your host.
Hey, everybody. Welcome back to another episode and another interview. As you know, the podcast is underway here, and we're still kind of on the same topic, asking the same questions to a lot of different people in a lot of different situations. And I'm really excited about today's guest. Even before I made this a point to do these podcasts, some conversations about this topic, the in-depth stuff that contractors deal with, before I really focused on that in a new venture. My guest today, Bryce, was like, hey, if you ever want to talk about the struggles, I'm down. And I was like, okay, that's kind of random, but not kind of random, because he and I have been in the same circles and at different places and been hearing people speak about a lot of this stuff. I'm going to try to pronounce your last name. Wuori? Do I have that right?
Wuori.
All right.
Yeah.
Cool. Yeah. So we have Bryce Wari, CEO of Pavewise, asphalt scientist, and dad, right?
Yeah.
Father, man. So give us a little bit of an intro, and then you're going to have to let me start asking some questions, man.
I'm a proud dad. I got 4 kids, proud husband, entrepreneur, own a business, love construction, love the industry. I'm 3rd generation, was born into it. And yeah, I've lived it. And, honestly, I've tried to get away from it a few times just because it is hard and it's demanding. And if you find ways to cope with it, there's a love-hate relationship some people have with it, but I love this industry. The people in it are genuine, and that's kind of my 10,000 foot story right there, my overview of who I am and where we're at.
I have this inkling that people think that because you're 3rd generation, you grew up in it, you probably got it all figured out. It's an easy route. And then you hear conversations, even with my friend Matt Stanley and other people who have been multi-generational. They do have a great setup and everything going. There's no relief of pressure. It's still there, and it still just gets handed off. I ask my dad sometimes, man, how'd you handle it? Right. Or how'd you do it? My dad said, well, Jim Beam was a really good friend of mine for a while, and it's
yeah,
dang, that's the answer I'm going to get. So, I think about that in a sense of, one thing I was kind of talking to you before the show here was we're realizing, after having multiples of this conversation, that it doesn't really matter what your life looks like in comparison to other people's. We're all still dealing with some stuff that kind of gives us the same overall feeling, no matter where it kind of comes from. And that's kind of a new thing, because on Instagram, you don't see that. I don't know, Bryce. You and I are on LinkedIn quite a bit. We connect there quite a bit. I sure don't see a whole lot of what you and I talk about behind the scenes on LinkedIn. So I think that people worry about that, and conversations like these ones that we're about to have help people connect and realize, hey, we're not that far off, and not so far off from it. So, I really appreciate you being here and opening up with me.
No, I appreciate it. And I think talking about it is the first, big step of changing this in the industry, because, I was never taught. I was raised 3rd generation construction, work hard, learn how to ranch, do whatever you can yourself, and be a good business person. My grandpa, my dad taught me everything to be successful, but there wasn't a moment where we ever talked about man, I'm burnt out. What do I do?
Big time.
And that was the one thing I was never taught. I was always just taught, wake up early, work hard, support your family, success, right? That cycle wears on a person, and it's, other people cope with it different ways. Jim Beam, I had a good friend named Jose. It was different coping mechanisms, because I was never taught how to handle those. And it's fun. It's not fun, but I go to events and talk about these things, and people that know me, we didn't even know that you struggled during those times, because I was so good at hiding it. I was smiling and just happy and just pretending the whole time.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, we see that, right? At shows, we get a little micro shot of what this person's life looks like. Same thing as Instagram and whatnot. It's not really till you get to know somebody a few times, like you and I have, where you're like, oh, okay. Or you hear somebody talk about it, you're like, oh, okay. And it's the same thing. Dude, I just know I'm supposed to be tough. I'm supposed to provide. I can't let a lot of stuff bother me. I'm a man. I got to make this stuff happen. And, you just can't get faltered by it. And it wasn't until I started a couple of years ago hearing some people talk about it, but A friend of mine, Aaron Craw from U-Turn Health, talked at Dirt World Summit a couple years ago, and something hit me where she was like describing a fight or flight response.
Yeah.
And then she's like, you can't do that. Like that's supposed to last 5 minutes, maybe in the wild. Your fight or flight response is supposed to last 5 minutes. And I'm like, dude, I think I'm living this like every day. And then all of a sudden, like, I was like, oh, so I started asking some different questions and whatnot. And that's really when I started to dig in. And she was like, yeah, I hear this a lot. This is what it looks like. This is what it is. And I started to realize then that I was on a track to like not being very mentally healthy. Right. And we
Yeah.
talk about lifting weights in the gym or working out or eating right, but we don't talk about healthy practices for our mind in order to stay healthy. So let's kind of go through like what an average day looks like for you right out of the gate. Like you're in bed and you open your eyes.
I am an early riser. I love getting up early in the morning. I'm a 5 a.m. person. That's when my mind is most active, and that's where really a lot of good ideas and things get done. Because during the day, it's meeting after meeting. I do run a software company, and I'm a paving consultant that works all across the United States. So a lot of traveling. But my day, like I wake up, I do my daily routine of getting a cup of coffee or tea, just starting. Sometimes I do a little reading. I'm a heavy meditator. I took up meditation here
Sweet.
6-7 years ago after I had
Where'd
my
you learn?
first.
Where'd you learn how to meditate?
I read a couple books, and it kind of dawned on me, like, I was the type of person, I'm highly wired without caffeine. So I was like, there's no way I'm going to be able to sit and think about nothing for like 5 to 10 minutes. Like, this is ridiculous, right? But like, I actually had to learn how to meditate. Was just started with some breathing techniques because I dislike flying. I just dislike flying. So like, I had to find a way to calm myself because I couldn't drive everywhere. And it turned into like, actually, makes me feel really good. And I've adopted it into my daily routines, even just what I call resets, like 5-10 minutes of just like breathing and just like, all right, reset it because I've been, something's bothering me or something. And I never knew how to do any of that stuff. And,
Yeah.
I learned over time, like, because I was forced to bring it down a level because I was living on that vicious cycle of that fight of
There's an edge there.
6 Red Bulls in a day and a cup of coffee from 5 a.m. till 10. Like, I'm not kidding you. That was my life for 3 years. And it's just not sustainable.
Lord.
And your body can't handle it. And what happens is what happened to me during that was like, I was living on this high ledge, and all of a sudden,
there's an edge. That's why I keep
Yep.
telling everybody there's an edge where you're like, oh, I can't go that far. Oh,
Nope.
I can't go that far.
And I hit it. My body physically shut down. I mean, and mentally I hit it. And that was kind of what happened with me. But like, I've changed that. Like now I wake up in the morning.
You meditate and then what happens?
Kids, I got 4 kids. I make breakfast. I'm there for them when I'm here, where before I used to be out the door and, spend time with them and just kind of take the time with my family. I never used to do that because I thought it was more important for me to go out and get to work earlier and provide in those cases. So, and then it's get to the office and work. There's 10 people at this company, and we're continually working on things.
If you're a subcontractor in the asphalt industry, you already know the deal. Slow pay, no communication, scopes that change, and getting squeezed on price after the job's done. Paveco National is different because they didn't start as a national company. They used to self-perform. They've been in the field. They've run crews. They've dealt with the exact frustrations you deal with when working for other nationals. They built Paveco to be the company they wish they could have worked with. That means clear communication, fair contracts, and no games. They don't treat subs like placeholders. They treat them like partners because they've been on your side of the contract before. If you're ready to work with a national contractor that actually understands and respects your business, reach out to Paveco National. Email them at partners@paveco.com or call 866-PAVEMENT. Paveco National, making your life smoother.
Always pushing the limits of how we can help the industry with technologies, and just we're a venture-backed company, which means we have investors. We're continually raising money and growing and things. So there's a lot of that world, and going to expos.
How often do you ever feel like I got it figured out?
Never. And I hope, like, I don't think I ever will. I mean,
Yeah.
and
You got to come to terms with that. You end up coming to terms with that and being like, hey, that's actually just like the normal.
that's very true. Like, and these are some of the things I learned too, is like, I'm never going to get caught up on my checklist of things to do.
Yep.
I got to prioritize my time, because there's a point in your life where you hit like this is real. Like, my time is more valuable than any amount of money or
Yep.
anything physical. Like, I used to try to fill the voids of the time I lost with my family with buying new cars and giving them things to replace, thinking like that would make them happier, and it was untrue.
Correct.
So, I mean, those types of things, unfortunately, I just had to learn the hard way. But like,
When you wind down in the afternoon, like what's it look like when you kind of got a lot of that check and you're like, okay, now I know that we're later in the afternoon.
yeah, the afternoons are really where I schedule a lot of meetings and stuff, because I'm kind of in that more of a wind down period. And I typically don't work too late now. If I do, it's on more of the minute things, and I do a lot of reading. I never used to be a big reader. I absolutely love reading. I'm reading a book right now,
You read in
and
the
I read all.
afternoon? You read in the afternoon?
Oh yeah, I'll take
Oh, okay.
breaks. Yep, and I'll do it typically in the morning, afternoon. Just sometimes if I just need even a reset. But like, I'm reading a book right now called
You got
Scaling People, and
scamming people.
it's more of a business book. But um, it's just mental exercises to kind of just change out of the pattern of, we get stuck in these, like,
Yeah.
something didn't work right, or this didn't make.
I'm reading the book on mental toughness by Andy Frisella.
Mm.
Trying to get into that and dig that one up a little bit. I'm a big Tim Grover fan, and Tim
Yeah.
Grover, he's going to be at Dirt World Summit next year, so I'm
Yep.
super hyped about that. But I've been a long time fan. I love both of his audiobooks. But anyways, Tim Grover writes the foreword, right? And you're like, oh, cool. I was like, so that's really what drew me in. Been down to First Form a bunch. Met Sal. I really enjoy hanging out with Sal. I've been able to do that a couple times now. I'm always curious into people's minds, like, like what they're reading and why they're reading it. So, for me to be like, hey, you grab I'm jealous really, because I don't stop and read like a page. And I wish I should just keep one with me and like grab a page and read it here and there. But I try to do it in the morning. But that's why I was asking about your meditation too. I do mine in the morning, but I don't stop during the day, and I probably should, because there's times where I'm looking at that screen. I don't know how you get, but I'm just like, pretty soon things will start doing that. I'm like, dude, I got to get up and walk around and get some fresh air or do something.
Yeah, for sure. Yeah, and it's hard because, like, I never used to be able to shut my phone off. I used to feel bad taking days, even if they were sick days. Like, it's like a mental shift that you have to have, because
Do you feel
we're
like
tough.
Do you feel like
I mean,
you went from from a sprinter to more of a marathon runner? Like,
oh, for sure, for
yeah,
sure, yeah. And I'm actually more efficient in this
in that
process than
process.
I used to be, because I'm not strung out and just like on that, that fight level of just like trying to get a whole bunch of things done that's
Yeah.
not done correctly and having to go back and do them. I'm actually like focused and concentrated, and yeah, for sure.
What about like when you get back home? So let's say you start heading back home. Are you able to switch it off for the most part, or you still kind of hang on to it? Because I struggle. Nikki sees me like, I'll be there, and then like she'll catch me a few times, right? Kevin Gray was talking on one of the earlier podcasts, and he's like, I had 10 minutes, dude. He's like, I did so good. And I grabbed my phone, like, for 10 minutes, I was looking at it. And Liz, oh God, I hope I got her name right. Uh, she was like, hey. And he was like, oh, yeah, yeah, yeah. And put that thing down. I'll get sucked into that sometimes. And Nikki's like, hey, whether it's at dinner or whatever. And she'll be like, come back to me here.
Yeah. Yeah, that happens at times, especially if there's something really pushing.
It's second nature,
But
don't you think? Like by
it
now, it's
is.
second nature. Like I'm not meaning to do that.
No,
It's
not
like
at all.
tapping. It's like tapping my foot or something. Like, oh, I didn't realize I was tapping my foot. It's the same thing with the phone. There's such a huge part of us now that it's like, oh, and you grab it and you see something and it's there.
Yeah. Yeah. If I need, like, that's another piece that just comes with training. Like, I used to carry two phones with me,
Mhm.
like, and I'd never shut them off. I'd never let them leave my sight. Like, sometimes I get home and the first thing I do is go upstairs, plug my phone in and leave it, and come back downstairs and spend time, cooking and just, we're busy. We got kids running around and gymnastics and sports and stuff. And I've really taken, the steps towards being more
Yeah.
present with those things because it's valuable, and I don't want to miss out on those things.
Well, I
So
think we compensate, right? With like, hey, well, I'm providing all this stuff, so I don't have to be here and do this and do that or whatever. Like, I'm providing for the family. You guys understand I need to do this and I need to do it
yeah,
at this level so that we have all this stuff and you're able to do all these things. And even though we do that, it, that's a lie I think that we're telling ourselves, right? Because it's like, dude, they don't care about that. They don't. I mean, they care some that they have a place, a warm place or whatever, but we care more. They would care
yeah.
more that like, hey, don't do that so much and come watch me play basketball or watch me practice wrestling or doing whatever. So once you get back in the afternoon and get in towards the evening, is that what you guys do? You do sports stuff or pick the kids up after school and then cook dinner late? And then tell me about the wind down at the end of the day.
All right, guys, let's talk about something that makes a real difference before the job even starts. Prep work. It's the most important thing, and we all know it. The Bensink rotary broom is built with high tensile strength steel bristles, and this thing flat out works. It preps areas for seal coating and striping, helps clean up crankcase oil spills, and easily converts into crack cleaning mode. And here's the deal. It cleans where traditional sweepers can't. It makes moss removal easy, and this is one of those tools that once you have it, you can't go without it. There are two models available, the hydraulic broom, which is the most popular and spins both directions, and the mechanical version that spins one direction. One customer put it best, we've been cleaning parking lots for 23 years. We can't live without the Bensink. If you're serious about doing the job right from the start, this is one worth checking out. Head over to bensinkrotarybroom.com to learn more, and they've even got financing options available right there on the website. That's the Bensink Rotary Broom, built for guys doing the real work.
There's not really a wind down. It's more of a switch because like
Yeah.
it goes from the wind down of like business to the all right, the activities of all right, we got dance, gymnastics, we got guitar lessons, like who's doing what, and sharing that responsibility, having a good partner. My wife is my business partner. We've ran 3
Mhm.
4 successful businesses together. We share that responsibility. She's the COO of this company now, Pavewise, and I mean, having that structure is really important to share that responsibility. But like, it's just it's more of a shift. Like I know the point of I'm probably busier now than I ever have been in my life, but I know how to manage it in a way that I never used to know before. I know now when I've hit a limit of, all right, I just need to take a day and go. I love doing woodwork, going up to my lake cabin and spending a day doing a wall that needs to be finished or something like that. And where before I would push through it, push through it.
Mm.
And eventually, that would end up causing more
Yeah.
issues. So
And not even
it's
that, like you're spending less time
yeah.
sleeping, which I've come, the sleep studies out are like crazy.
Oh,
Like, it's
yeah.
detrimental. Like I think even they were saying like if you don't get a full 7 hours, like if you have recovery time, mental or physical, like it cuts it in half. Like it
Hmm.
takes you that long to recover from it. Well, that's one night. So
Yeah.
imagine if you're doing that on repeat through the years, like we did, and trying to compensate with Red Bull,
Oh,
and whatnot, and,
that
and wind down.
that's the vicious cycle that I think needs to be changed more than anything in this industry is like I went through it and I keep saying this vicious cycle, but like, all right, Red Bull, first thing I do when I wake up in the morning, Red Bull, I got an hour drive out to the site or a cup of coffee, Red Bull, or with lunch, or I maybe miss lunch. I'm just going to replace it with a candy bar. And then, like about 4 or 5 o'clock, I still got a couple hours worth of work. There's light until 7:30, 8 o'clock. I'm going to get this done. I'm going to get some more caffeine. And then I get home strung, like,
Yeah.
or else, and I'm like, how am I going to get to sleep? I'll drink a 6 pack of beer,
Yeah. Yeah.
like, so that just happened, like this continuous
And
cycle of
cycle.
bad, and that's where my body eventually just said, no, you're going
Yeah.
to kill yourself. Like you're literally going to just,
Mine's
you,
still doing it, dude. Like you know the story by now, like the summer, how bad I had like blood pressure was up and stuff was going on. Like
mhm.
my body is still like I've been able to get off the blood pressure medicine. I give Nikki a lot of credit with that. She calmed me down quite a bit where it was like, be able to relax a little bit more, take downtime that I didn't take for myself. And she's like, no, I want to take downtime. And I'm like, okay,
Yeah.
cool. It's like, and I don't
Yeah.
want you to think about this and I don't want you to touch your phone and I want this to be okay. So that brought it down a little bit, but my body was just like, dude, I know the date. I know the exact date of when my body and my mind was just like, enough,
Mm-hmm.
enough. We can't do this anymore. And it
Yep.
started fighting back. So I kind of want to dip into some of the other questions. What was your biggest challenge this past year? Like, if there was one thing where you're like, this was the hardest thing, and it's important that we're candid of like really what that is, and what was it for you this year, Bryce?
Giving up some responsibility of roles or just even tasks as a owner, and trusting, like hiring the right individuals and stuff that are going to do it hopefully as good as you or even better. That's been a difficult thing for me this year, and it takes time and training as well, finding that right person. But that's been super difficult. And then, I mean, honestly, I lost my 14-year-old golden retriever who just like when I was going through it, like I would have panic attacks, laying on the floor, couldn't move. That dog would never leave me, right? He'd literally come lay on my chest. He'd follow me. He knew whenever I was like struggling, and he'd just never leave my side. And we just lost him a couple months ago, and even though he's a dog, it's like he actually probably helped me through some things that more things than some humans did just by being there and just showing compassion. So that's been probably one of the hardest things is losing that my dog Max, because he was a big support piece for me.
So how did you overcome those things? I mean, those are two completely different aspects of struggle over this last year, but the letting go part is a hard part for a lot of people, and I'm there, right? I'll be 40 this next time my birthday rolls around. In my mind, I'm still the 24-year-old that can just like, dude, if you're not killing it on the parking lot, get out of here and give me the hose and give me the crack fill machine. Let's rock this bad boy. Last year, nah, my mind was. My body, nah, not so much. I think I yelled for Eli more times last summer on parking lots than I ever did. I'd be like, I need to go get us something to drink. I think I need to go get us a snack. You guys are looking tired out here.
Yeah, right. Yeah, that happens.
Yeah.
No, the biggest thing how I got through that was, as I get older, I realize not everybody. I never used to take the time to teach people things. I just expected they know as much as me and that they're just going to catch on, right? So like that I found, like you actually do have to work with people and like teach them what to do. And especially nowadays, times have changed. Like the way we communicate is different than a 20-year-old. I mean, for example, like my son, he's 12, he's pumped. He asked a girl out to a dance. I'm like, oh, did you go up and ask? No, I texted her. I'm like, what?
Yeah.
Like, so you kind of have to, the times have changed, right? But so like, but taking the time to work with the people and like actually, I don't want to say train them, but like teach them and stuff. That was the biggest thing because that develops trust as well. That's how I kind of dealt with that, was just taking the time to like actually not be too busy to teach this individual, like, this is the steps you need to take. Now I want to watch you do it. And then I'm going to tell you what you should do different next time. And then we're going to do it again, instead of just handing them something and being like, here you go. You seen me do it once.
Did you build confidence in building your confidence in them? Did that give you more confidence at least, than kind of letting go of the reins a little bit?
For sure. Yeah. I mean, it's trust building, right? It opens your eyes to that, like, it makes it a little vulnerable, because like when you're so used to just doing things yourself, I'll just do it. I'll just do it. It kind of trained me a little bit to be like, you don't have to do everything. You have people around you that all you need to do is ask. I don't like to ask for help. I don't think a lot of us in this industry do. Like,
So.
I'll be the first to admit, like, I go to the hardware store, Menards, whatever, like, I will try my hardest to carry out whatever it is or load it myself before I got to go ask for help. And I think that's just a mentality we kind of have in this industry. And that's one thing I think that should be broke down to, a barrier that it's okay to ask for that kind of help, right?
When you're investing in asphalt equipment, trust matters. KM International designs and builds seal coat units, infrared heaters, asphalt hot boxes, and other asphalt maintenance equipment for contractors, municipalities, and professionals across the industry. We run KM seal coat units because they're built tough, they perform in the field, and we trust the people behind the brand. Another big reason we stand behind KM, their equipment is made right here in the USA. Their mission says it best: innovative asphalt maintenance solutions. To learn more, visit kminternational.com, call 810-688-1234, or email sales@kminternational.com.
I think back like when people started these asphalt industries, right? Or asphalt businesses, I'm sorry, when the industry first kind of got going. And even in the 80s and in the 70s and whatnot, when people started some of these major businesses that we know now, the times were different. Like the things you had to balance were a lot different, dude. You could put your number in a phone book or a newspaper and not market anymore, right? And now the competition is so stiff. There's so much acquiring for attention. You have people that need to record content, put stuff out, and then you have managers and operations guys. And now the machines are more complex, so you can't do everything in house. You need them repaired. They got to go somewhere. You got to hire someone. So there's a lot more to it, and I'm thankful that we're in an industry where like our elders that are in the industry understand that. Like we communicate enough to where they're like, yeah, I don't know if I could do what you guys do, right about now. I don't know how you guys do it. Well, yeah, we do it on Red Bull and Jose Cuervo and everybody else for the most part. But there has to be some more knowledge about how to do it at that level for us nowadays, and for my son, Eli, like for your son, for like our future generations. Because if not, that's what they're going to go to. So the very first step, I think, is us talking about it, exposing it, showing that, hey, there's a problem here and there's a cycle that we're all dealing with here, and it's not healthy and it's not something that we can do long term, and it doesn't make you more productive. It makes you less productive. Who are the people that have went through this and figured out a process to do it? And where does that look like? 95% of the time, they've seeked outside help in order to make that happen, right? We just don't know that because we see them on Instagram standing as contractor of the year in front of all their trucks or in front of the squad, and it just makes things change, I guess.
I was just going to say, I mean, the amount of digital stimulation we have nowadays is just so crazy. And it's a different part of our brain now that is just so active because of all this digital content and everything. So and I truly believe that is part of the big reason, and a lot harder for us to grasp right now, is because we don't know how to handle that digital stimulation because the people before us in the 80s, 90s, whatever, they didn't have that.
Right.
So they sometimes don't realize, like, what do you mean you're stressed out? Well, I just got 230 emails, and they're like, what's an email? Right. So it's a different time, and we're just so stimulated by all this technology and stuff that that's one of the biggest things we have to probably identify and figure out is like, how do we handle this? Because it's not going to go away.
The other thing technology's done, right, is let's just say in the 80s, you're in Southwest Wisconsin and you decide to start up a paving or an asphalt maintenance business. 3 other people, but you don't know them personally, who have a business. Like, you just know of their businesses. So you don't even know what's going on day to day. You don't know what projects they're doing, what anything looks like. Fast forward to our time, almost every paving or asphalt maintenance company in the country, and it is in front of your face how successful they are every single day. So there's this pressure or this comparison, even if just subliminally, and you're like, hey, this don't bother me. Even then, your mind already makes a photo of, hey, they have this, you don't have this.
Yeah.
It's just there. It literally is work, man. Like, it's work to
for sure.
tie and be like, I can't let this affect me. Right. And a lot of people say that, like, don't bother me. But then you get in from conversation a little bit later, something will peep out and you're like, oh, it actually does. Like, if you're aware enough, you're like, oh, it actually is bothering.
Yeah.
Is there?
Yeah,
so,
sure.
there's that crazy pressure too. What about, this one's deeper, right? Because we did your day and then we do what the last year looked like. And I know you shared about Max, which I greatly appreciate. I'm sure a lot of people resonate with that. We had our dog named Scratch got hit out on the road this year, and dude, during like the hardest times for our whole family, he was there and he was just like always happy and like, just throw me the damn ball.
Yeah.
So dude, you just would go out there and throw us ball, and pretty soon your mind would start clearing up and thinking, I miss that aspect. What's the single hardest thing you've ever went through? Like if yeah, I talk about it a lot. Of course, I'm recently divorced from my wife Kelly, but before that, I didn't really realize it. But I have panic disorder, which now after speaking to a therapist, like, hey, yeah, panic disorder. That's why you felt like you're in fight or flight all the time. And even though you wanted to do all these cool, great things, every time you did that, you were putting something on your plate to panic about, and you just nonstop there with it. That was probably I think the hardest times when I first started putting stuff on social media. You talk about being doubled up on the floor. I can remember, and if my ex-wife Kelly was here, she would tell you, I can remember like not coming out of the house for 2 weeks when first started putting stuff on social because I was like the tip of the spear. And I was like, dude, everybody's going to think I'm crazy. The only person I wouldn't think I was crazy was Gary Vee. And I'm like, dude, it's got to be, I have to do this because I knew that was probably the way we were going to go. What was the hardest thing you've ever went through?
Yeah. I mean, 2017, that's when I was probably the most successful as far as financially having things. But that's also the year that I had my mental breakdown. I have the same thing. I thought I was having a heart attack. I mean, I'll tell you the story I remember. I came out of a restaurant and all of a sudden I started tingling, like just tingling my whole body. And I'm like, what is going on? Did I just eat something poisonous?
Right.
And pretty soon, like I couldn't breathe. And all of a sudden I'm like down on my knees behind my car, like just laying there, like someone call 911. I'm having a heart attack.
For the rock, sand, and gravel producers listening, efficiency isn't just about your loaders and your crushers. It's about your data. Bulk Source is the modern operating system that connects the pit to the pavement. Stop running your business on spreadsheets and paper tickets. Bulk Source is an all-in-one cloud platform that handles everything: order management, dispatch, scale ticketing, and invoicing. Give your customers what they actually want: a customer portal where they can view tickets, track orders, and grab invoices in real time, eliminating the game of phone tag. Unlike clunky legacy systems, Bulk Source is cloud native and mobile friendly. It works on any device, iPad, phone, or desktop, and integrates seamlessly with accounting tools like QuickBooks and NetSuite. Streamline your operation, speed up cash flow, and ditch the chaos. Visit bulksource.com to book a demo today.
Went in and they're like, no, if you ever had a panic attack? And I'm like, no, what's a panic attack? Like, I've never heard, there's nothing wrong with me. I don't have panic attacks. And then pretty soon, I found that that's what I was having. And a lot of it was because of the stimulation. My body was just like literally saying like, no more.
How'd you find out that happened? Like, how'd you find out that that's what it was?
I went to the hospital.
Okay. And then the doctor was like, you had a panic attack.
Yeah. They're like, you just had a panic disorder. There's nothing wrong with your heart. And I'm like, oh, well, what is this? I was a sports player, like on high stress, like things like that. And I'm like, there's no way. They're like, what's your caffeine consumption? I'm like, I don't,
a lot.
eight cups of coffee a day, maybe, or a couple of Red. And they're like, and I was like, oh, so that's not healthy. And they're like, no. But what happened? That wasn't even it. Like, I didn't stop there. I was like, nah, that's a one time. It's going to just happen. It's not going to happen again. I continued that for another like 6 months. Same thing.
Well, you had to, right?
I had to, right? I had to, right? Yeah. It was now I've created this level of like where I had to be. I'm not coming down from that, but it happened again. And it happened again, and it happened again. And pretty soon it got to that point where it's like, it got so bad that I couldn't even work or perform anymore, as far as like, I couldn't leave my house because like the moment I got in my car, I couldn't breathe and stuff. And then like, I got depressed and
this is how it's going to be permanently. Like this
for
is
sure.
The same thing, dude. I had the same exact thing.
Yep.
I would drink like afterward, like I started telling everybody like I see it now looking back before when like I had my incident where I went to the hospital, and it was the same kind of thing. Like I thought I was having a heart attack or something was up. And I got there and I did an EKG. They're like, no, you're good. Everything's fine. Like, they're like, you got a lot of stress in your life. Then Kelly and I weren't divorced yet. It was like a month until we were divorced. She's who drove me to the hospital. Right. So they're like, you got a lot of stress. Is there any way you can remove it out of your life? And Kelly was in there. She was in the room. She's like, I'm going to go get a drink of water. Right. So then she used the room. So then I had to tell the nurse, dude, like, that's my soon to be ex-wife. Yeah, I got a lot of stress and whatnot going on in my life. But now afterward, like, dude, if I drink a fully leaded cup of coffee, one cup of coffee, I have brain fog all day.
Yeah.
So I'm having to like teeter it a little bit and do half calf if I
Mm-hmm.
can't do anything. If not, I'll just do decaf. But it's crazy to think that we push ourselves to where caffeine will affect us like that, so far
Yeah.
gone. So
Oh,
once you got to that point, what did you do, man? Because like I felt the same way. If I'm going to be completely 100% honest with you, I knew in that moment that I wasn't going to be able to do BB at the capacity that we were doing it anymore. There was no
mhm.
possible way, and I knew I was the face of it. I would try doing interviews and whatnot. Titan came down here and we did like a video series that we had planned for like 2 years. I got here, I couldn't remember one line. They would say a line
Mm.
and I couldn't remember it back to the screen. And I was like, something is completely wrong with me. I remember telling Chris, our operations director at BB, I'm like, dude, something's completely wrong with me. But if it wouldn't have been the automation that we set forth, like I know I plug Jobber a lot. Everybody sees me plug Jobber. If that wouldn't have been in there, if softwares wouldn't have been in place to help me, there's no effing way I would have made it. And if Kyla wouldn't have been here understanding how that all operates and helping me, there's no way I would have been able to do it. I was nearly incapacitated. I was on like autopilot. Get up, where's the jobs? Do the blacktop work, go to bed. Get up,
Mhm.
where's the jobs? Do the blacktop work, go to bed. It was the simplest form of anything I did in my day was clean up some blacktop, put some crack filler down, seal coat it, patch it, leave, go back and put it on repeat. If my life wouldn't have been designed like that, there's no way. So, the way you're describing it, that paralyzing thing, same thing, dude. It happened with me. What did you do? Like, where'd you
Yeah.
start looking or how'd you figure out how to get out of that?
Well, I mean, it didn't stop there. I mean, what happened was when that happens, like I'm sure you felt it too. It's like you feel worthless. Like you get
Yeah.
depressed. You're like, I can't do anything. I'm worthless. Like I'm used to being the person doing all this work, providing. I I can't even pick up my phone. I got 72 phone calls today, and I don't even want
The
to talk
leader,
to anybody.
the
Yeah,
leader, right?
you're the person that everybody looks up to. So like the other thing, I hid it as much as I could. Oh, he's sick, he's gone, whatever, like I can't come. I would make any excuse not to have to do anything because I couldn't, but I
Mhm.
didn't want to look weak, right? So um I mean it turned into like, yeah, I'm going to be like this forever. If this is the case, like I'm worthless.
Same.
And that something triggered in my head that like convinced myself that like this is the way it's always going to be. You might as well not even be here, right? And I took that into like consideration a lot of times to where I had a gun in front of my head or on my head in front of my wife multiple times, just like. And I think back to those times I used to go deer hunting out in these areas, these beautiful areas, and I'd drive by and I'd be like, if I'm going to end my life, that's where I'm going to
That's
end
I'm
it.
gonna do it.
And I think back like did how did I get to that point in my brain to where when I think of that now I'm almost disgusted that I could even get to that point, but it all happened um, in this process that I always thought I was in control, and I really wasn't. In this little voice inside me kept speaking, and I'm a spiritual person, and I truly believe it was the devil telling me like, you don't need help, just you'll
Yep.
get through it, just keep doing it yourself. The thoughts you're thinking are fine. And I wouldn't be here today if I didn't have my wife and partner, because that I would have kept listening to those, and I would have took it past the point of return, honestly. So um after after we realized like that I was at that point, definitely got help.
Where'd you go for help? How'd you get help?
We got I had a good friend who's a therapist, and helped us on the way of recovery. A lot of it, honestly, what helped was talking about it. Like I'd never to that point in my life ever sat down with somebody and just told them what I'm
Everything.
struggling with, everything. And it's just like a river of just emotion that leaves you because it's like just kept inside. And in creating these formulations of just making it normal to talk about how you feel, or if you're struggling with something, it took 2 years to get to a point back to like a normality of where um, I was, I don't want to say normal, but like I had a life that was
Functional.
functional, and I wasn't living on this extreme high of a stimulated life. So that's really the hardest thing I've been through for sure.
One of the biggest challenges in concrete work is control. Control over quality, control over timing, and control over cost. Cementech designs and delivers volumetric concrete mixers that are some of the most accurate and technologically advanced in the industry. Their equipment gives contractors real control over schedule, budget, and concrete quality, allowing crews to mix exactly what they need when they need it, without the waste and limitations of traditional barrel mixers. I've been in the same industry circles as Cementech for years, and I've interviewed contractors who run their equipment every day. It works, it delivers. If you want to learn more or to find a dealer near you, head to cementtech.com.
Yeah, it's tough, man. I think you and I resonate well with that because, like, I've talked about it a few times, and I've had a few people that were on BB. One of my friends, Jason Thompson, him and I had the same conversation of where I was telling him, like, dude, there's been times as of late when this was like probably like 2 or 3 years ago, and I was like, I've been thinking about this, right? And like, I'll look out the same thing. I'd look out the window and look at a tree and be like, yeah, that would be a good tree,
Yeah.
right? Well, and I'm just like, and I'm like, and then I would. Kelly and I weren't together, but I would still talk to her, and I'd be like, and I felt bad because we already had enough guilt about stuff that had already caused us to separate, right? She did, especially. And then I would be having, and I didn't have nobody to talk to, so I would just talk to her about it, and then she would be like, this is what I've done. Like this is what this has caused. So it was just this vicious like tornado that just kept bringing everything down, this cycle, and it was bringing things down. And it really was just like, I think that played into a lot. BB kind of started and got its head of steam right then. So I dove into BB, and I think that distracted me enough, and it felt like it was for a big enough purpose outside of like Wiscoat, and I didn't even want to do Wiscoat anymore or any of the asphalt stuff. I was like, whatever. And even with the kids here, I was like, whatever, they'll be fine. I was fine. I grew up with less. They'll be fine.
Yeah, right.
So, just kind of this crazy feeling. And I have the same thing now. I look back, I'm like, dude, why were you thinking that? Like, what in the world would ever get you to that point where you'd think that? Because now, dude, I think God just had like the perfect timing. Because like the world of asphalt, Nikki and I meet, we start talking. We go into talking like a couple months. I had already filed for divorce, worried that this big spiral was going to happen. And it probably would have been a lot worse if there wouldn't have been filled with highs of Nikki and I doing things, hanging out, talking, doing whatever. And there's part of that I struggled with a lot of like a back and forth. That statue of like, I can't remember what it is. It's a guy grabbing a bull by the horns, maybe, or whatever. It's like struggle. I can't, dude, I'm ashamed. I don't know the name of that statue. It had me like this back and forth of like, Nikki, here's this high, here's this low, here's this high, here's this low. Like you're this at this point in my life, which really isn't fair because there's a high point and a low point that she just came into a relationship and there I am. So it was a good balance back and forth of like that got me through it. But still, no matter what, in July is when I went to the hospital when I had that panic attack. Something had happened that I caught wind of that made me think about my kids and their future, and already had court dates coming up. We were in the midst of business. I knew I wasn't really wanting to do BB anymore and was struggling, and it just kind of sent it over the edge. And yeah, dude, I didn't have those thoughts this past year, but I had them previously when there really wasn't much positive to look forward to. I was just kind of caught in the day to day thing. And I'm like, I knew like I wasn't what I used to be. So then it made me start feeling just bad about myself, which now looking back on, I was like, dude, no, I don't think so. My problem is I put myself under a microscope.
Yeah.
I'm like, dude, why would you do that? There's billions of people. Like we're doing fine. We're doing well, better than average when it comes to it. So can I ask you, in the grand scheme of things, with everything we've been through, all the experiences, business, right? Third generation, your wife sticking with you through this. What has life taught you? Like if there was, if there was something that you would be like, life taught me this for Bryce, what do you think it would be?
Life has taught me that you can't do it alone. I mean, I sometimes, when I think of how I got to the position I was at, that mental state, was it was a lot of me trying to do it alone.
Mhm.
And once I realized that I can ask for help, I can ask for somebody to do something with me, it doesn't make me any less of a person. I wish I would have known that
Sooner.
sooner. That part of it. The one way I describe it is, I was always taught, like, to, when something bothers you at work or whatever, you just bury it in the dirt.
Yep.
And you leave it there. It doesn't stay there. When you do that, all you're doing is nurturing. You're putting a seed in the ground, and then time and stuff won't make it go away. You're just nurturing it. It grows into this massive problem. And that's what happened to me, was like, I planted all these seeds, and then I got stuck in this, I call it a dark forest. These trees grew up really big. I got stuck in this, and I refused to ask for help out of it because I put myself in there.
Mhm.
And I wish I would have known when I was planting those seeds that that would have happened, or that was the cycle that was going to happen through it. So yeah, I mean, that's the biggest thing, is like, it takes a village, it takes people. And that's the biggest thing I wish I would have known 20 years ago.
What about father of four, right? And
Mhm.
I got two myself, but I've taken on two more with Nikki as we're engaged here, and going to be
Yeah.
making that happen. So I suddenly became four myself that I
Mhm.
got to kind of be a role model for. If you could teach something to your kids, like one thing, or if you could just, like, I guess teach them, but just tell them that you would really sink in, that you wish they would understand, what would that be? If there was one thing that you just wish, like, man, I really hope they get this for their life.
The thing that I always tell them is, chase the dream, not the dollar. Find your passion, and just, I don't care what it is. If it makes you happy, do it, because that's really, what life is all about. And that's where I really changed the gears, selling my construction company, going all in with Pavewise. That was my dream. And now I get to live this dream every day. Is it stressful? Is it hard? Yeah. But like, there was a part of me missing for a long time, that, like, probably the way you were with Wizcoat and Blacktop Banter and stuff. It's like, you like doing one, but you got to do the other one because it pays the bills. And this is,
Correct.
like, it's kind of like you're stuck to it, right? The moment I released that and chased my passion, it is completely a different life for me. I tell them all the time, like, find what you love and do it.
Yeah. What does the future look like, Bryce, for yourself?
Sometimes this industry gives us more than a paycheck. It gives us the chance to give back. Dream On 3 creates custom sports dreams for children living with life-altering medical conditions. Moments that give families hope, joy, and memories that last a lifetime. This isn't about attention or headlines. It's about showing up for kids and families during some of the hardest moments of their lives. We believe in the mission of Dream On 3, and we're proud to support and help raise awareness for the work they're doing. To learn more, visit dreamon3.org and follow them on Instagram at dream_on_3.
The future, we're a young startup company. Our biggest goal is to help the construction industry just take some risk away by using, like you said, technology and software,
Mhm.
managing some of that stuff. So, like, if I could leave a mark on the industry, any mark, it'd be like, all right, I made it a little bit better. I saved this individual an hour of their day to go home with their family and spend that time with them, because they don't have to sit and document this and journal this and do this extra work. So that's what I'm really pushing towards. Brittany and I are going to continue to run this company. We hope we're raising another round that we can just get up to maybe like 20, 30 employees, have a exit someday with another company. And really, the future, what my biggest goals are, is to give it back someday, invest what I've worked so hard into somebody else and just pay it back, because that's what fills my cup. And that's really why I work so hard, is that someday I can pay back what I've learned, what I've done to somebody else, because, that knowledge has been dumped on me as well. So that's the future. I mean,
Yeah.
and, just being an advocate for this industry. Like, I used to be so ashamed of what I went through, and I didn't talk to about any of this until just last year.
Yeah.
And now I'm out at conferences. Vince was the one that kind of got me going. I called Vince one day and I'm like, Vince, I got this story I need to tell you. And it's been weighing on me because there's not a lot of people know about it besides my closest family. And I feel like I happen to have lost somebody in the construction industry that really weighed on me because they look like the happiest person in the world. And I was like, I've been there. And
Yeah.
I want to, if I can save one person from doing that by just talking about it, like that's fills my cup, and that's my goal here in the future.
Well, that's a good thing. I think you get to that point to where you hand off the business or do whatever you're going to do, and you can look back. And I don't know. There's a lot of people, dude, that spend time still in the industry after they sell whatever they have, and they still hang out, and they're still a voice for a lot of people coming up. And there's a lot of people that are my mentors that shoot, they haven't ran an asphalt business in a long time. They haven't run any business in a long time, but they're still at the shows. They're still trying to talk to people. They're still trying to connect. I think you just kind of got to dig in there and find them. And I think like when I look ahead, like whether I'm at the front of it or not, I hope, somebody else is going to be taking the care of the day to day. And I just get to show up and hang out and just observe the industry at large and just be there and talk with some other people. And maybe, you and I be old dudes there talking, be like, yeah, I remember this, remember that. Like for me, like that, I hope that's what is in our future of just like, I just want to look back and be like, it was a tough ride. I learned everything I was supposed to by what was put in front of me. And, yeah, I'm cool with that. I'm happy with that. And I think that's kind of like what you're aspiring for. I would hope as well, right? We get to go hunting in the woods, and dude, I would love to go hunting. I made jerky this last week, but it came from my soon-to-be father-in-law. Like the meat did. I had to make it by dehydrate. I'm like, dude, I haven't made our own jerky probably since Eli shot a deer a couple of years ago. And I've been thinking lately, like, dude, why don't I do that anymore? Like, I'm not that big of a time suck if you know how to hunt, right? And I'm like, I don't know why I'm not doing that anymore. But I was talking with Nikki a little bit about it today because I'm like, I don't necessarily know that I'm taking enough time to do what I was put here to do, actually.
Oh,
right?
for sure.
I just enjoy the fact that we're here with the people we love. So.
Yeah.
Cool, man. Well, I appreciate it, dude. I really, really do. I would love, what'd you say your wife's name was? Brittany?
Brittany, yep.
Dude, I would love to get her on the podcast. Can you convince that? Because I would love to like talk to her somewhat about the other side of the spectrum, from somebody looking in. You think she'd be doing that?
For sure, yeah. Because I mean, she definitely seen the worst parts of all of it from a different point of view, and she stuck through it. That's the most amazing thing, and what I'm so thankful for. Because like the rage, what I put her through,
Dude,
like
I don't even think about it. I don't even want to think about it. I'm like, I'm with you because I like all I do is like I'll ask some people, or I did ask people, like, do you forgive me for that? And they're like, yeah. And then I'm like, all right, I'm washing my hands of that because it makes me feel shitty. And I'm just like, dude, I shouldn't have done that. So I'd love it if you could get on there, man, because I think that that's a great perspective, especially on her end. Like, what do you do? I don't know what to do with that old version of me. Right? Like, I don't know what to do with that. So it'd be great to have it on it. Dude, I really, really appreciate you joining us and talking about this. I'm hyped for what you all are doing over there at Pavewise too. Now that it's got most of your attention. I'm hoping you're spending your attention other places and whatnot as well. But it seems like you all got it figured out and how to dial it in for the marathon and not the sprint. So I really, really appreciate it, man.
No, I appreciate being on here and talking about these things. And yeah, I mean, I look forward to, I hope we're, 80 years old at some asphalt expos, talking about the good old days and all that fun stuff. We'll be there.
Yeah, Eli will be pushing me around in a wheelchair. I'm gonna be grabbing pens from the Trafco booth, probably.
Oh, there you go. Well, there,
boy. Yeah,
let's make it happen.
Yeah, man. I appreciate it. All right, guys. So for myself and for Bryce, once again, we really appreciate you joining us and for staying in the mix with us. Peace.
Later.